and spray it all back there because I haven't been to a barber since January because I'm COVIDed. Now I'm not saying I haven't been out at all,
Sure.
but I've been out very sparingly, and I've been COVIDed for like 23 straight weeks.
Wow.
And I've got a massive ponytail. So I combed it all back and sprayed it so that nobody can
you got to show me. Turn. Can I see it?
Well, yeah, but it's sprayed down. It probably won't look like a ponytail.
That's all right. Let me see this. Oh, look. I got your chair, but I saw it before the chair covered it. You've got it combed together. Look at you.
Yeah. When I don't, it sticks out on the sides and it goes below my shoulders.
Am I interviewing Billy Ray Cyrus?
There you go. There you go.
Most people in my immediate sphere know the name Gary Habermas. Again, he authored or co-authored or edited over 40 books, dozens and dozens of journal articles. This gentleman is quite prolific. I've enjoyed even beyond, if you're a pastor or fashion yourself in some way a Christian scholar, you should have Gary's work on your shelf. I've used him for years. He's an incredible man of God. His resurrection research, life, death, resurrection of Jesus is incredible. It's astounding. It's thorough. It should be on your shelf. But I wanted to add this. There's some parts of Gary's published work that you might not be familiar that have been really helpful, that I've enjoyed. Gary, your work Beyond Death, when you teamed up with JP, absolutely outstanding. When you teamed up with Doug Givett in your Defense of Miracles, your chapter in Debating Christian Theism, your 3 chapters in the late Norm Geisler's Why I'm a Christian as kind of a counterblast, a corporate counterblast to Bertrand Russell. But anybody that's also a youth pastor or a pastor, I hope you'll stay tuned in. Not only is Gary a great guy, but I've found in this pastoral role, a lot of your work, again, that may go unnoticed by people that only know about your Jesus research. So your lay level work has been astounding for that threefold operation of a pastor: proclamation, leadership, and then counsel, biblical therapy. For example, I wouldn't know about anything about Jeffrey Schwartz if it weren't for you. Your work in bringing a biblical understanding to cognitive therapy, Albert Ellis aside, has been incredible. I've gone over and over again in the counsel role, your Thomas Factor book, Why Is God Ignoring Me? What's So Good About Feeling Bad, or something like that. These have been incredible works for that counsel role as a pastor. So whether you're going straight on historical Jesus research studies, the life of Jesus research, Jesus studies, or you want useful resource, extraordinarily useful resources for pastoral ministry, go to GaryHabermas.com. It'll be on the screen. We'll have our guy put it right up on the screen here for you. It is a treasure trove of very, very useful. Gary is, if nothing else, Dr. Habermas is pragmatic. As a matter, I just used your most recent, The Uniqueness of Jesus ebook. I made that into a 6-part teaching and supplemented it with other scholars. It's just great, Gary. Outstanding. I just want to say thanks, and it's an honor to have you.
It's only a little thing, so you turned it into 6 parts.
There you go. It's we broke it up and then supplemented it, so we're really like I said, you can't go wrong. It's a great honor to have you. Great honor to have you, Gary.
Well, thank you. I'll add one thing, and it's not about me.
Yes.
Nothing is for sale on my website. So I put it there specifically for the purpose of ministry, not for the purpose of trying to sell any, like I said, I don't think you're going to find one thing on the website that's for sale. So
unbelievable.
You better not.
No, it's
somebody, I got to find out who put it there.
It's a treasure trove. We were talking a little earlier, Gary, just real quick as we start up here. You're finished. You said technically finished, but got a lot of editing to do. So but finished to the point of the content with your magnum opus. Can you tell the people a little bit about that?
Yeah, first draft is done. Boy, it's taken me 7 years. For those 7 years, by God's grace, and that is what it is, by the clock, I have worked probably average 75 hours a week. During COVID, last week, I keep a running total, last week, 78 hours. Now, I can't claim to spend all that time on the magnum opus. I do about 3 hours of email a day, maybe
Wow.
more.
Wow.
So a lot of it, and you know, you mentioned ministry, Joe. I do the email the way I do it. I you know, you don't always have the time to spend on it, but there are just a lot of hurting people and there are a lot of
Yes.
doubters. So,
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
so I'm not trying to imply the magnum opus gets all that time,
No.
but it's done in the first draft, and I've got a lot of editing to do. You know, when you go through a 200-page book, the editing is a lot. But at 5,000, I will be lucky to have the editing done in a year.
I can't imagine it. It was forever just to do my dissertation. I farmed it out. So yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Have you had any surprises, Gary, in your last nearly decade of research for this big book?
well, a fair number of changes. What I'm seeing is, here's a couple smaller reflections. Naturalistic theories today are starting to disappear. I wrote an article in the Trinity Journal. It was about the turn of the century, so about 20 years ago. And I said that there had been an uptick in naturalistic theories. Now, I had gone back to about 1975, so there had been an uptick over the previous 25 years. At present, here's what I'm seeing. Older scholars who like naturalistic theories, they still hang on to them. You still got Garrett Ludeman taking hallucination.
Right.
You've got John Shelby Spong taking a view that I call the illumination theory. Basically, what it amounts to is Peter had some kind of experience and talked everybody else into being comfortable with the phrase, Jesus appeared and I saw him.
Okay.
You've got other people taking, well, there's another guy, Tom Sheehan at Stanford. He takes that illumination view too.
Okay.
But the guys who settled down on a naturalistic theory are often retirement age or older. Okay, well, I'm not picking on any old guys because I'm an old guy. But the younger guys, here's what I'm noticing. They're not so quick to pick naturalistic theories. And I think there's a couple reasons why that's true. And now I do this minimal facts argument, and I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
But actually, you worked with Bill Craig for a long time. Bill told me many years ago that he got the idea to argue for minimal facts from reading my stuff. So I thought, well, golly, Bill, that's amazing. but so some other guys besides me do minimal facts. But because the facts are out there, and it's not just us.
No.
I'll put a parenthetical comment. My teaching assistant, Ben Shaw, just finished his PhD. And one of his appendices in his dissertation is a list of over 20 contemporary scholars who start with lists of facts in some way. Now, if you do just those who take lists of facts generally on the historical Jesus, over half of them are liberals. So what I'm saying is even liberal scholars present lists of facts. So now if you're a young guy coming up, back to my point about the naturalistic theories, if you're a young guy coming up and you see that not just the conservatives are doing these lists of facts, but you got Robert Funk, you got E.P. Sanders, you've got Geza Vermesh, you've got major people doing lists of facts. And then you say, what are the naturalistic theories? And to me, trying to put a naturalistic theory on the board against the known data would be like asking you if you want to take your new car that you've just spent a whole lot of money on, and how would you like to drive it down an obstacle course that I'm going to warn you right now, it might be kind of difficult. Well, there's going to be some guys who take the bait because they like challenges. But most people wouldn't put their new car on an obstacle course.
True.
And I think that's what a lot of young people, a lot of younger scholars who reject the resurrection, but they're not taking naturalistic theory so much because they see an obstacle course of known facts. And it's frankly hard to make a naturalistic theory wrap around those things and miss them.
Yeah.
So I think we're seeing less people choose general theories, and you either get them saying things like, well, David Hume is still on my side, or, yeah, but you need another world. You need God out there doing something, which, of course, the apologists go, well, look, we can talk about data for God if you want, we can talk about another world with near-death experiences, which are highly evidenced. Intelligent design, that gets you to another world. We have all kinds of ways to get to the other world. So the fact that they say, well, you have another world to get to, that's not an issue whatsoever.
No.
But what I mean is it does keep them from picking a naturalistic theory. It's an excuse for them not to settle down on something. Right. And I'll end the question this way, Joe. Bart Ehrman says, he said, when I was an evangelical, we wanted people to pick naturalistic theories. Basically, I'm kind of paraphrasing him. We wanted it because we knew that when they picked it, we were going to bring all these data down on top of their heads. Yeah. And he said, he actually uses words, something like, we relish the opportunity to hear them bring a naturalistic theory. Well, right. I think that is here again. Absolutely. I think that naturalistic theories are not terribly common. I think that's true. Yeah. I think another surprise doing this is I'm convinced more than ever that a vast number of scholars will at least concede that the New Testament view is that Jesus was raised bodily. That's another common view. Jesus was raised bodily. Now, you go, who are you talking about? Well, people who specifically do not believe the resurrection, but to believe that Paul thought it was a bodily resurrection. You go, well, that's a given. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're saying that now, but it was not a given decades ago. No. Decades ago, scholarship thought that everybody saw Jesus sort of like Paul's trip to Damascus with the glorified. He was blinded for a little while. Right. Yeah, right now, I could start naming the names. Garrett Ludeman, John Dominic Crossan, even Dale Allison believed Jesus appeared to people. But Dale Allison's another one. All these guys think that at least the New Testament folks believe bodily appearances.
Incredible.
So those are new trends.
Yes. Yeah. And that gets at what I was going to ask you about. Have you seen, I know you were we've talked years ago that you started to see this when you were a little more active in the debate field. You'd see people that just wouldn't they wouldn't offer you an alternative.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I had an atheist in a debate, and he was an angry atheist. He was kind of ticked. Right. He was a professor. He was no dummy. He was a professor. Right. And I said, why don't you go ahead and pick a theory? And he said, no way. And I said, why not? And he literally said to me, because if I pick a theory, you'll argue me into a corner, and then I'm going to have to go and get angry, which is interesting. He admitted the anger. Unreal. He admitted that he would end up in a corner, and Unreal. He would not pick a theory.
Wow.
Wow. So yeah, once in a while they say that, and most of the time I don't think they want to admit that.
Right. And what you said about the facts, I think Bill debate where there was a guy that was a ancient Mediterranean first century historian, and he conceded he said all those facts he conceded at the front end of the debate. He didn't have, it wasn't surprising to him. He had taken Bill seriously enough to study. So,
several times in debates, I've started with a list of facts. Tony Flew, one of my 3 debates with the former, famous atheist. Right. We started with a list, and it wasn't just my short list of a half dozen minimal facts. It was my longer list of a dozen more inclusive facts. Right. And he pretty much conceded the whole list.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm reminded of what he said in There Is a God. Your work with him as in a friendship type of long time evangelism as adversaries. Then, for him saying that the quality and quantity of the data and evidence for this miracle outstrips any religious miracle claim anywhere. I mean, that's, again, that's one of those ones that causes the skeptics that were former allies to sweat a bit.